About 20 years ago, I was in a freeway accident, whereas 95% of people usually die. The doctor said I would never walk again. A SUV drove diagonally across the freeway at 80 miles per hour and smashed my little car into the wall in the center of the freeway. I was hit 3 times, spinning around and landing into the center wall. All I can see was smoke, airbags exploding, and my smashed out windows. My car was pent to the wall on the driver's side, and the passenger side was smashed into my driver's seat. The police looked into my car and said, "I can't get you out." I called for help. He drove off towards the car that hit me. He drove off the opposite direction into the traffic on the freeway. I called to God saying, "I want to live. I don't want to die now. I need to raise my daughter." I thought my car was going to blow up. All I can see was smoke. God spoke in my ear and said, "Look up. Raise your hands through the broken window and you will come out." I suddenly saw a body that looked like a man standing near my door, and I said to him, "Come closer. I want to get out." He came closer, and I reached my hands out the broken window, and he pulled my body out through the window. He stood me to the ground, and I turned to say thank you, but he was gone. The police was still on the freeway. He had caught the driver who hit me as he was trying to drive in the opposite direction. The police returned, running back to me when he saw me holding on outside my car. He began asking, "How did you get out of the car?" I told him, "The man took me out. I hurt. My body's burning. I want my clothing off." He watched me falling to the ground and kept asking, "How did you get out?" He laid a piece of plastic on me on the ground until the ambulance arrived. He asked again, "How did you get out of the car?" I asked him, "Didn't you see the man? He took me out of the car through the window." The police officer never answered. He kept asking, "How did you get out of the car?" and explained he needed my ID. The ambulance took me to the hospital. When my family arrived, they were in tears and was told I was being transferred to another hospital for back surgery. When I woke up at the next hospital, I was told by the doctor I was in neurosurgery watch waiting for back surgery. He wiggled my toes and I told him, "You are not my doctor. My doctor is Jesus." I told him I can feel the wiggles. He continued the next few days telling me they were going to do surgery the moment I could not feel my toes move. They believed the morphine was talking. Every day he came, I kept reminding him, "My doctor is Jesus, and he will heal me without surgery, and I will walk again." For the next 11 days, people kept coming to see me. They were in tears as they were told I would never walk again. I would be in a wheelchair if I didn't get the surgery. They would arrive broken and in tears, sad for me, and I would profess to them, "Jesus Christ, my healer, will deliver me out. No more tears." They would leave rejoicing, saying they were uplifted by my spirit, knowing I had my God to care for me. Day 12, I heard my doctor say he would be leaving the hospital, and I told him not without sending me home. I told him there would be no surgery, so they worked for the next few days with cast around me and preparing me to go home. They sent me home with a cast on my midsection and another cast around my neck. They sent me via ambulance home with a hospital bed waiting for me. I traveled back to the hospital a couple of times via ambulance until I said no more. I started therapy and I wanted to return to work less than 4 months later. My job said no, not yet. Take time. My husband drove me to my church. As I was using a walker, I just wanted to be in the house of the Lord to praise God. I stood up through praise and worship, and he stood with me as I always lifted my hands giving praise. I learned from my husband the car was so mangled and twisted up, he could not locate or recognize the impounded car. We got the police report, believing there was a report of how I got out of the car. There was no mention of how I got out of the car. I know God delivered me from the destroyed, mangled car, sat my feet on solid ground, and brought me here to say there is nothing my God can't do.